Westover Drive and in our neighborhood.
Thank you.
And, yep. Thank you. I just put this flash together for everybody here tonight. I called Public Works when this was going on. I may have run out of copies here. I apologize.
Thank you.
I called Public Works when this was going on, and we had a lot of the milling that was going on. A lot of the milling that was going on in our canal was going right into the creek. In fact, some of my neighbors that are here tonight will attest to this. They had put some barriers up, but
Excuse me, would you get to the mic here?
The contractor
Thank you.
moved those barriers while they were doing this work. And it happened in at least two places that I saw. One near my house on Westover, and then another one a little bit further down near the pumping station where they moved these barriers and the milling was allowed to go straight into the creek. And I've noticed in the last year, since this happened, this was last July, that creek is filled in quite a bit. And I believe it's due to some of this work, right? And I did call Public Works. They did send somebody out. I never got a return phone call. But I just want to implore you that some of this is our own doing, right? Maybe a lot of this is our own doing, that we've caused this problem where this creek is filled in because of some of the things that we have done in this neighborhood. Any questions for me?
No questions.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here. Okay, the next card I have is Jake Smith, Your Honor.
Thank you for inviting me.
Good to see you, sir.
I'm Jake Smith, 43 Carriage Hill Drive, and that's in Westover Shores. I've been there since 1975. I met my wife after I came back from Vietnam, and I said, I'm in trouble. First blind date I went out with her on. And she'd lived here in Poquoson, gone to high school here in Poquoson, and graduated from Poquoson and went on to William Mary. Well, when I got out of the Navy, I came back and I went to law school at William Mary. I got so much salt in my veins that once we got married, I said, why don't we move to Poquoson? And she said, I am not going back to that little town. She said, I want to go somewhere that's more active. But I convinced her to come back to Poquoson and buy waterfront property. And we bought there. I used to bring a 35-foot sailboat up there. It drew 5 feet of water. I brought a power boat that drew 4 feet of water. And I could come up almost any time I wanted. Now, after 45 years, I can only get off of my lift at high tide because the lift hits the bottom. So I've been paying for waterfront property for many, many years. I never complained because I could use it. But now, 1 hour a day, maybe 2, I can use my boat, that boat. My big sailboat, I have to be in Seaford. This has been going on for I don't know how long. I remember before Old Port Cove was developed, the builder got with all of us, and we had a plan that I think most of the people and the builder were going to take on and dredge out this creek. We had a place right on the creek to put the dredge spoil. It was all ready to go except for 3 apparently very influential residents of Poquoson opposed it, and it got shot down. We started this particular project in about, I guess it was 2015, somewhere around there. And we just haven't had any real interest from the governing bodies until York County has now at least shown interest. Poquoson has never shown any interest. I was disappointed. I told the mayor I was disappointed that when this started again, I received no contact from any member of the Poquoson government about my feelings on it. My feelings are pretty strong. And I feel like if, in fact, we don't move forward somehow, I am going to seek a change in my assessment because I'm living on a drainage ditch. I thank you for listening to me. Somebody does. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Okay, next speaker is Mrs. Quimby Amory. How are you, Ms. Amory?
I'm just fine.
Good.
How are y'all?
Good to
Thank
see you.
Thank you for letting me speak.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm kind of I won't exactly say come here, because with the last name of Amory, I guess it's a come back. Because my husband's family was here for many years, though I've only lived here for 5 years. And I live at 6 Fremore Drive. I'm across from the Wimmers, kind of at the head of that little part of the creek. And I have the same problem that everybody else does with boats. It's got
Ma'am, excuse me, I didn't catch your name.
Quimby Amory.
Cindy Amory?
Quimby.
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 Oh,
Amory.
thank you.
And I have the same problem with boats as everybody else. I think it's gotten worse since I've been here. There is a stormwater washout drain between my house and Manfred Freeman's, and it's open. So you get not just water in that, you have a lot of what they would refer to as gunk that goes down in that creek, and the creek is filled up so much in front of my house. And I think that has something to do with it. If that drainage was actually a covered pipe underground, I think it would make a lot of difference. And there are probably other places around the city that have the same problem. So I would really like to see dredging, like everybody else, but I would also like to see the stormwater problem addressed, so maybe we won't have so much gunk ending up in the creek. So I thank you very much, and
Thank you, Mrs.
thank
Amory.
you for letting me talk.
Thank you for what your family does for mine, too, by the way. Is it Sarah? Sorry, Sarah Ford? Lord, Sarah Lord.
Yeah,
Did you want to speak, ma'am?
I have considered it. I feel it's more a private, not yet public matter to discuss. So
Has you,
possibly at the next one.
okay. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever makes you comfortable. Anybody else?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
so everybody had something good that they said about the
Name and
project.
address, please.
I'm Tony Marandino,
Oh,
8
that's right.
Northwest Over
Okay, I'm
Drive.
sorry.
I got a forgettable face. But the thing is we have York County's support for this. They have, I could be wrong, but they only have 36 residents on that side of Lambs Creek. We have 84, and we got the go-ahead from 75 of those people that they're interested in this project. 75 people out of 84 people have signed on that they're interested in getting this creek done. When that creek was built, it was hand dug to 6 feet, and it was put there for a reason. It was put there to drain the neighborhoods, because we're taking away wetlands, and so we have to mitigate somehow. And so my neighbor Corrigan has only lived there for a few years. I can tell you that in the middle of Lambs Creek, the muck is 4 feet deep. It comes up to your chest. The biggest fear is a child falling off of a dock into Lambs Creek, because you can't get anything out of there. It is 4 feet of muck. And so I just want to tell you about our numbers. You know, our numbers, 75 out of 84 people, and that's on the Poquoson side. And there's only 36 residents. Am I right about that, sir? 36 on York County? Yeah, 36, and they're willing to move ahead on it. So, you know, I think that helps our case a little bit for what we want to get done by government. Thank you so much.
All right, Tony, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, if not, we're going to move on with our agenda. Approval of minutes from our regular session, July the 12th, 2021.
Mayor, I move that we approve the minutes of the regular session of July the 12th, 2021.
Okay?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve those minutes. Any Concerns or comments? If not, Ms. Kim, please.
Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Councilman Fay.
Aye.
Councilman Hux.
Aye.
Councilman Green.
Aye.
Mayor Hessel.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 6-0.
Okay, thank you, Kim. We're not going to act on that tonight. You're welcome to stay and listen, but we're not going to act on or take any action on the Lambs Creek issue tonight. So, but again, you're welcome to stay. All right, let's move on to old business. First item is a resolution. All right, I can't tell you that. I just can't tell you that.
Is it confidential?
Oh,
No, you'll let us know, it'll be advertised?
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. The resolution making appointments to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Mr. Green?
Mayor, I move that we adopt a resolution making appointments to the Poquoson Parks and Recreation Advisory Board with the following names inserted: Anna Ward for the at-large position, and Shannon Martin from the Central, and their terms will expire March 31st, 2022.
All right, we have a motion made and seconded to adopt the resolution with those names inserted. Any concerns, comments by council? If not, Ms. Kim?
Councilman Green.
Aye.
Councilman Hux.
Aye.
Councilman Fay.
Aye.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
Mayor Hessel.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 6-0.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kim. Let's move on to new business. First item, a resolution making an appointment to the Colonial Community Criminal Justice Board.
Mayor, I move that we adopt a resolution making an appointment to the Criminal Justice Board with the name of, I hope I pronounce it correctly, Rana Navarette. Her term will expire March 31st, 2024.
Thank you, buddy.
Second.
Motion made and seconded that we adopt that resolution with that name inserted. Any comments, concerns of council? If not, Ms. Kim?
Councilman Fay.
Aye.
Councilman Southall. Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
Councilman Hux.
Aye.
Councilman Green.
Aye.
Mayor Hessel.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 6-0.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Item 2 under new business, amending Shipwreck Island intersection project and the approved constrained capital improvement plan for fiscal years 2022, 2026, and beyond.
Mr. Mayor,
Oh, there she is.
Tanya will present.
There she is. Hey, Tanya.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council Member, City Manager. Tonight, you have in front of you some housekeeping items that we need to do in order to make application with VDOT, the Virginia Department of Transportation, for the 50/50 match on the Shipwreck Island. We just need to amend the project worksheet in the CCIP, or the Constrained Capital Improvement Plan. If you recall, a few months back, you approved a resolution allowing the city engineer to move forward with that application. This just allows us to clean up the CCIP to do so.
Okay. Any questions of Tanya? I don't think so.
Perfect.
Okay. Randy, any comments from you?
No, sir, this just allows us to maximize our potential reimbursement should we be successful in making this application.
Okay. We have something on in the agenda about that?
Yes, there should be a
Give me a,
resolution to that effect.
it's a resolution, I see it. Okay, is someone prepared with a motion?
Mayor, I move that we adopt an ordinance amending the constrained capital improvements plan fiscal years 2022 through 2026 and beyond.
Okay, thank you, man. Thank you, buddy, appreciate it.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded that we adopt that resolution. Any comments or concern of council? If not, Ms. Kim, please.
Councilman Fay.
Aye.
Councilman Green.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Councilman Hux.
Aye.
Mayor Hessel.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 6-0.
Do we know what happened to the boat that was there?
That Shipwreck Island?
Yeah.
Yeah, we removed it.
Okay.
We're holding on to it while they're making some work there on the crosswalk improvement. And it may not go back there, but if it doesn't, we'll find a suitable place
No problem.
to put it back.
Okay. All right, item 3 is we're going to get some information from our city attorney. I think retail marijuana stores will be legal in Virginia as of January the 1st, 2024, and Wayne's going to take us through that.
I'll take you
Mr.
through
Moore?
part of it anyway, give you a little bit of a heads up. So as most of you know, if you follow anything in the newspaper, the legislature has dramatically overhauled the marijuana laws in Virginia. Some of them phase in immediately, such as the criminal aspect of it. Other aspects of it, such as the sale, doesn't take place until 2024. One of the items that's included in this is the possibility of a referendum within each community regarding the sale of marijuana. So if you don't take any action, then marijuana sales will become legal in the city of Poquoson. You can hold a referendum to have the citizens vote on this issue. And there's a statutory regulations for that, how you hold it, and the timing of how you hold the referendum. In order to hold that referendum, you have to petition the court, and once the court approves a referendum, you have 90 days to hold the referendum. And this time frame is it has to take place after July 1st of 2022, which is next July. It has to be completed by 12/31 of 2022. But there's going to be that 6-month window of time when you can have the citizens of Poquoson vote on a referendum as to whether or not they want to have marijuana sales in the city of Poquoson. Doesn't affect anybody else. They can have them in York County, they can have them in wherever. It's just simply what our community does as far as that's concerned. If this does happen within the city, you can levy a 3% sales tax on marijuana sales. You can add that to the rights that the city has. There's also some control that you will have regarding what zoning district the sales can take place in. You can't control advertising. There's a clear statute about if there is a business, then they can advertise the sale of marijuana. So these are all things that don't have to be decided on tonight. This is just to give you a heads up that this thing is coming down the pike, and between now and after I'm assuming if Randy and I talked, I don't think you want to do anything until after the legislature meets, because I think there will be additional changes when the legislature meets this year. But you need to be prepared, if you want to have the referendum, to petition the court and get it scheduled and done sometime between next July and next December 31st.
Okay, Wayne, thank you very much for that.
And I sent each of you, I think, a little short article that had come out.
You did.
Giving you some additional information.
And we have talked, I think we as members of council, and I think I've talked to all of you, and I thought we all shared the same view, that we were more interested in a referendum than we were anything. So unless council wants to change their mind here tonight, I suppose, Randy, we need to do as Wayne says and get the paperwork rolling and get it done. Unless, 7 of us here, that's just my idea.
I don't think you would do anything until after the legislative session this year.
Right.
And then you got to hold the referendum within 90 days of entry of the order. The judge will enter the order pretty quickly. We file a petition. So I think we need to do the timing. You need to, down the road, you decide when we want to hold this referendum. Do you want to hold it at next November elections? Because I'm assuming next November there'll be a gubernatorial election. There may be a big turnout. You may decide you want to have the referendum as part of that. That's a little later on down the road as to when you schedule it. I haven't researched all of the details on getting the order from the court and, holding the referendum. And I don't want to tell you that's the time to do it until I do a little more research. But it is available to you have the referendum.
So you're talking about a referendum this coming November?
No,
No,
we're
sir.
talking next year.
Like I said, the governor,
July 1st of 2022 is the earliest you can have a referendum. The latest is December 31st.
Randy?
Yeah, I think the confusion was the reference to the gubernatorial election, which is this November. The following November, amongst other things, will be the council elections, and unless we get, you only need to make a formal decision to commence this, but unless otherwise directed, we will queue it up so that we bring to you at the correct time the order to ask the judge to schedule the referendum, and I would suggest consistent with the November election of next year. We reduce the cost of having a separate election, which is particularly difficult with early voting and all of those sorts of things, to have two different elections during the same period, not at the same time. Additionally, and this is worth reiterating for those at home, the default in the Code of Virginia is that sales will be allowed in every community unless they hold a referendum to say they don't want them in their community. So we're not suggesting that we have a referendum to see if we want marijuana sales. It's really a referendum to see if we don't, because the code provides the default in the affirmative. It is not often that the Code of Virginia provides localities specific options to decide for themselves in a Dillon rule state, but in something as important as this to a community, I think the council is correct and it's appropriate to ask the citizens what their wishes are on this when we can.
I didn't intend to give the governor another year in office.
thank you.
Okay, any questions? Randy or Wayne? If not, we'll move on.
But the other issue
Yeah.
that has recently occurred, and just to give you a little bit of background, the city of Virginia Beach was brought to court in the federal court regarding their precinct and voting system. Basically, they do the system the same way we do. You had to reside in the precinct, but you were voted on by the whole city. The federal court passed down a decision saying that was a violation of federal law because it discriminated against possible minority precincts because their vote would be diluted by the whole city. The state of Virginia then has passed a state code dealing with the same subject. So after this year, Poquoson will no longer be able to have the members of council come from a particular precinct to be voted on by the entire city, unless there is a change in the law that allows that to happen. So, you have a couple of options. You can have whoever run from any district and be voted on by everybody, the same way the mayor, the same way that the mayor is voted on. Everybody votes from the mayor, and he doesn't have to come from any particular district. That would be a possibility. You could possibly do some legislative work to see if the legislature would possibly give Poquoson an exception to continue doing what we're doing. There are several things that you could look at to decide. If you're going to go the legislative route to try and get something through the legislature, then obviously we need to get on the bandwagon here pretty quick with our representatives and get formulated as to what we want to happen. That's, again, just a heads up to show you that this is changing and that we're no longer going to, after this year, we will not be able to continue electing councilmen the same way that we do now.
I guess the comment, from me at least, would be, why in the world does the state of Virginia want to get involved in our election, something we've never had, that I know of, an issue with, number one. Number two, is something about a charter change that we might be able to do, which makes no sense to me. My suggestion would be that we get in touch with our delegate and our senator and see if there's some way that we could maybe be exempt because of our size. I don't know that that'll work, but it does disturb me, though, that they want to get involved in our election. Quite frankly, I don't see what business it is of the state. They've got enough problems. They're dealing with us. So Anyway, that's my feeling. Randy, do you want?
I just wanted to say, to sort of restate what Wayne said. I see three options, and he outlined them all. The first is just to accept the change, so that after this year, when we have precinct elections, a person stands for election in a precinct, and the voters that would vote on him or her are the eligible voters in that precinct. That's so that we just accept it. We could change our charter, as you referenced, because even to go to all out large, we still need the General Assembly because they approve charter changes for cities. Or the third option, the option I think you prefer, Mr. Mayor, is to seek a legislative amendment so that small communities like Poquoson are not swept under the larger issue that they were trying to get at in the General Assembly, which had nothing to do with communities of our size. I believe we were included unintentionally. That's probably the nicest way I could say it. Unless otherwise directed, we'll correspond with our state senator, our House of Delegates member, and ask them to do what they can to introduce legislation to modify the Code of Virginia to either exempt small communities, period, or if that's not possible, Poquoson specifically. I know, as you know, locality-specific legislation has a higher bar to get across, but a reasonable, small, large community modification to the code would not require that kind of extraordinary bar to get over, just a simple majority, I believe. So unless otherwise directed, we'll do that.
Are our precincts divided pretty evenly, population-wise?
Yes, sir.
Randy, put some background with Virginia Beach. I think that's where the thing was actually grounded in at one time, and now it's spread all over the Commonwealth. Is that a fair assessment?
The lawsuit that Mr. Moore was talking about was a Virginia Beach lawsuit, which attempted to show, and I guess it was found, that their voting practices, because of the nature of their specific community, could be discriminatory in that it may have diluted the voting power of one or more ethnic communities within Virginia Beach by allowing the larger at-large voting for the district seats. So the General Assembly, following that, passed a law which basically prohibited that type of voting, the type that they were doing in Virginia, and separated it out, as Mr. Moore said. And that's where we got cut up on. At the time, I believe it was perceived that it only affected Virginia Beach. And it was 90+% of the way through the legislative process before it was even discovered that it had other communities that would affect as well. Like I said, I think it was designed specifically for Virginia Beach, or Virginia Beach, and the others of us. I'm not sure there aren't others as well that got caught up in it, but that was the focus in the General Assembly. So if that's the focus, a large community focus, perhaps there is some room for a small to medium community break or modification of the code.
Okay. Any questions of Randy?
Anybody, any council members have concern with that course of action?
I don't.
With the letters drafted
Mr.
this
Mayor,
week?
excuse me, it's not on the agenda. Can I give you one more change?
Sure, Wayne.
So the Freedom of Information Act was amended this time around, and it was now provided that once a police investigation is complete, then that has to be released to the public. In the past, that you didn't have to release police investigation reports. So they amended it to say, once the investigation is complete, then they have a right to discover that report under the Freedom of Information Act. And the other change was that in the past, under the Freedom of Information Act, what you would call personal contact information could be given out by the city. So for example, if I send an email to the city manager saying, I want copies of the agenda every time it comes out, or I want certain information, then a citizen could petition the city under the Freedom of Information Act and get my name and address and email information and that kind of thing. So effective July 1st, that changed. Now, personal confidential information is not to be given out under the Freedom of Information Act. That was two things that changed, all of it tied into the movement about the criminal justice system not being fair, which gives rise to releasing the reports and gives rise to releasing names of people who were interested in certain specific aspects of city government. I didn't think to put that on the agenda, I'm sorry, but
Well done, Wayne. Well done, as always.
Mayor, do you think it would be worthwhile to research other communities of our size and ask them to
Sure.
join us in
Sure.
approaching the
Good idea.
legislature?
Yep. Yep.
The merrier.
We can, we can stretch out beyond our delegate and our senator. Sure, buddy. It's a good idea. Anybody else? Common City Manager, are you all done?
Yes, sir, I am. Thank you.
Okay. Council directives? Down there in the white shirt. David?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no comment
Okay,
tonight.
buddy?
Just one thing, Mr. Mayor, the mobile food pantry is August 24th, our fourth Tuesday as usual. It'll be another drive-through from 10 to 1, and I believe our host is Emmaus Baptist Church this time.
Good, good. Keith?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I thanked via an email the help I got getting started on becoming a council member, but I'd like to thank publicly Christy and Kim for helping getting me up to speed real quickly for that first meeting last week, or last month, and this one as well. So thank you to you.
Yeah, they top of the line. Kerry, anything?
No comment tonight.
Okay, Bud?
I'd just like to thank the citizens who came out to the council meeting tonight to pay attention to the government, and those at home who are paying attention to the government for doing so. It's something that every citizen of Poquoson should do. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments, any other questions? Ms. Lord, did you speak with anybody on council after we adjourned?
That would be fantastic.
Just
One of you.
one of us? Okay.
I think Mr. Lutzer were here.
I'll be glad to speak with you, ma'am.
All righty. Motion to adjourn, please.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Second. Motion made, second, we adjourn. Ms. Kim?
Councilman Hux,
Aye.
Councilman Southall,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman,
Aye.
Councilman Green,
Aye.
Councilman Five,
Aye.
Mayor Hessel.
Aye.
By a vote of 6-0.
Thank you, ma'am, and we are adjourned.